Now, some members of the public are speaking against the reintegration of the Boko Haram fighters in the society. Among those who have spoken vehemently against the idea is the Dean of Borno Elders Forrum, Professor Khalifa Dikwa, who also suggested possible solutions to the security problems Nigeria is currently facing. Professor Khalifa Dikwa now joins us live from Borno State to reiterate his stand on the security issue. Welcome, Professor. Now, Professor, we seem to be in a season where everyone is advocating throwing everything at the security problem, including the kitchen sink. So tell us again, what is so wrong with reintegrating repentant Boko Haram fighters?
Thank you. This is a great question. You know, first of all, it has never happened in the world where there is no ceasefire, yet you reintegrate the criminals who traumatize the people without, first of all, settling the people who are victims. First of all, you settle the victims, allow them enough time to forget their pains and travails, and keep away those who you, as a government, you think somebody dictates it to you to reintegrate. Let them be taken somewhere else. Can even take the sponsorship for them to go and learn some skills or get further educated and so on, but not bring them back for people to see their real enemies. Those, imagine a youngster who will say the killer of his parents now coming back as somebody who has repented. Does it really make sense? No. We can forgive, but the revenge may be delayed, and God is up to God to take revenge at the time. But it is not absolutely, it is not ingenious to bring them in, to reintegrate them back into the society, a society that they traumatized, a society that they dismantled, a society that they denied its livelihoods, including the farmings and so on. Everything was wrong. It was indeed the wrong thing. It is not even logical to even contemplate reintegrating them prior to settling the real victims of the. Yes.
I understand your point, but for those who support this move, they make the case that majority of these young ones were forcefully conscripted into the sect, and it wasn't a matter of choice. So if they say they are repentant and they go through the process of deradicalization and rehabilitation, why then shouldn't they be reintegrated? After all, they were forcefully conscripted.
I understand the point you're making. Many of them actually were conscripted by force and so on, but you never can tell what they were fed with within the period of time. The insurgency is just like a cultism. There are certain things that happen within the system that is not known to the public. In terms of radicalization and so on, it could take even within few weeks, they could be radicalized and be more ferocious, more much deadlier than the original insurgents and so on, and therefore it is a risky talk to even contemplate doing it, because you never can tell that eventually within a shorter time they may think of going back or continue relating with those who are still there when they don't find it convenient within the system, when they feel that they are now despised, they are looked in one way or the other. Nobody wants to even relate with them and so on. The possibility of them going back or relating with those who are still over there is very high. And therefore, there is nothing wrong to keep them in another country, far away, or in another state that can accommodate them, to just have a look at them, to observe them for a longer period, rather than saying they were just now corrected and so on. It is Boko Haram ideology is not something that you can just it or remove or neutralize within a very short time. It's something that is in the blood. And therefore, if there's somebody, anybody for that matter, anybody who has ever thought or has ever killed many, the tendency is that killing becomes normal for him. And this Boko Haram began with their own parents. When they were conscripted, some of them conscripted by force, within a very short time, they came back and they started looking for their own parents to kill first, to show that they are notoriously deadly. So if the younger chaps think of just starting their own killing with their own parents, how can you just endanger the lives of the people with them being reintegrated? It is a gamble that is not worth taking. It's not ideal. They can be kept somewhere else, but not close to the people they traumatized, the people whose livelihoods were completely destroyed without, first of all, settling the IDPs. Those, as they now being done by the state governments and with the help of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and so on, to resettle the people first, let them go back to their livelihoods, provide security 100%. And security cannot be provided without taking into diplomacy, talking to the neighbors, talking together, and perhaps countries that are behind such insurgencies for economic reasons. And obviously people know the countries behind such grievous things in parts of Africa. Wherever you see an insurgency and so on, the name is different, but it is the same ideology which was created by Western intelligence in order to disorient whoever took that particular pill called LSD at that time. That there's nothing like, it is something that is terrible. Before getting it out of their mind is easy. And all the insurgencies in Africa, when you take cognizance, you check around, you will see resources. And resources, diamond, gold, oil, gas, and so on. But the people there are suffering. So in a country, for instance, you see, rich with gold, diamond, and so on, yet the bank currency is weakened and so on. It is an irony. And therefore, those countries, there are countries in the West that believe that they cannot survive, they cannot keep themselves afloat if they stop pillaging the resources of other countries. And therefore, it is just now a matter of time politically to do the thing. And I dare say my own country should do better diplomatically from time to time, perhaps even petition the European Union and United Nations over the activities of certain members of the Western countries. Secondly, technology must be applied.
Sorry, before you go on, Professor, if I may come in, Professor. Can you hear me? Professor?
You fix the app, and then you will be able to see those coming into your house and so on. What about Nigeria? The borders are porous. Technology is the best way. It's not building a wall the way U.S. President used to talk about it. Put technology, and you see, again, the communication companies, again, must make sure that they cooperate with the security agencies. And doing one thing. We have the satellite. Are the Nigerian satellites working? Why are they not giving aerial image process? Why is it that it is difficult for our own security agencies to fish out their moles within the system? It is possible. It is done somewhere else in Sena climbs and so on. Again, you see, you have to choose your own country and choose your own pocket. So this country to go down the drain via the hands of the foot soldiers within Nigeria and so on. There's no country that will accommodate Nigeria's 206 million people. And therefore, it is better for us to fix. And if the president, it's better for him to say, give them a time frame, tell them what did you do with the budget. Has the Ministry of Finance not released enough money? If so, what did you buy with it? Let us just gather the retired, even the retired military officers, intelligence officers, and so on, sit down and say, this is what we bought. These are the planes we bought. These are the weapons. Why are they that still we see that our own military is still holding guns that are outdated, not beyond, only AK-47, which does nothing fatal beyond 800 meters, while insurgents are having the better ones they can even use at night and so on. Why are we not having helicopters that can attack at night and so on? Is there something within the system that is not working? If Nigeria had the real name in the world, not only in the continent, for quelling insurgencies, bringing peace to other African countries, working under United Nations in places like Darfur, in Congo, and so on, why is it difficult for them to quell
Khalifa
their
Dikwa.
own inside the country? Imagine the first and only Prime Minister of Nigeria, Tafawa Balewa, whose first speech included Congo. And
Professor.
Either equal or richer than Nigeria in terms of gold,
Dikwa,
diamond, and so on. Congo is still at war.
We seem to have a problem communicating. Professor Dikwa, can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud
Okay, we've been trying to get your attention all along. Ekene, my colleague, has a question for you.
Yes, clearly you've given this a lot of thought, and you can imagine millions of people have many more questions. But let's just even give the administration the benefit of the doubt. The argument has been made over and over again that the war is as much about winning hearts and minds. So perhaps the focus should be on encouraging our government and supporting them rather than casting aspersions. So to that end, perhaps the area you're challenging has to do with the whole process of rehabilitation rather than just merely the fact that they are being rehabilitated in the first place. So if the process of rehabilitation is effective, then perhaps you wouldn't have a problem with the strategy. I'm putting that to you.
You are right, Ekene. It's defective, and even the safe corridor is defective. It is not sincere, because I have the experience of having in the past, we even invited a few insurgents to come into Maiduguri and don't have a delegation. In the long run, they were just caught and dealt with. So continuously, the government of Borno does its own best and so on, but then it is the northeastern state governments are not on the same page with people who are thinking along the federal government, as if there is something, as if they are serving two masters. And I dare say that, look at the reports that President Jonathan and so on, they are still gathering dust. The reports of Ambassador Gajigal Timari, the reports by in terms of special duties under Jonathan and so on, that all these reports were never implemented, and therefore, as if there are people, foot soldiers or moles or people who are conniving with the foreign interests to delay this thing. Again, as journalists, you ought to have asked the chief of army, who is also from the northeast, from Borno in particular, who was quoted as saying that this insurgency may take up to 20 years to come. What was he thinking about? For me, I believe that Nigeria, if put together, Nigeria has the wherewithal, the people, the brain, the way Nigerians excel in other countries. Nigerians can also fix their own country. And therefore, there is no room for a defeatist argument here. Nigeria can do it within weeks. within weeks end it. And without refusing to do it in good time, now it metamorphosed into so many categories of insurgency, violent killings, abductions, problems with herders, and I dare say that I was perhaps the first person to have warned Nigeria when I came back from France as a student in 1984. I had stumbled on a classified document about the conspiracy against my own country. So I was warned several times that people within Nigeria will come after you. I said I didn't mind it. I exposed it. I was talking about it to prevent it from happening. But the successive governments never listened to me, and they allowed it to happen. As soon as we came back, I think they were just waiting for the right government to start doing it. For instance, as soon as we came back in a democracy, it is easier for them to infiltrate. 1999 we came through 2003. The government of that time moved the weapons from the northeast down to south. Some of them even exploded in Lagos barracks and so on. And that emboldened the insurgency through the northern Borno, through Monguno and so on. How can you have troops without real weapons at that time? Therefore, it was official. To me, at that time, I called it official corruption. Official corruption begins with the moral corruption. If you have leaders who are serving two patrons, they tend to look down on their own country that made them who they are, gave them training, and they chose even right from 98, 99. The interest outside chose the candidate for us, not the people, the real people of the Southwest. For them, the entire North that has over 70% of votes and so on, voting might and so on, had to either choose Chief Olufalaye or Obasanjo. Olufalaye was the secretary to federal government at that time when they implemented SAP, Structural Adjustment Program of President Babangida. This is something that is known. And then Obasanjo, the thing, now you can see what happened under him. And all these things, we don't need even to expatiate about them, including the third term agenda, removing elected governors and so on, all the he stampeded on the laws of the country, did so many things, yet he was okay to criticize others. To me, we are enemies of our own selves. If we have laws that apply only to the weak ones, we are not going to get it right. And that government should stop respecting people who do not have that sense of patriotism, who do not like people, who differentiate people. Because Nigeria is Nigeria, first of all. When I was out in 1983 as a student, I traveled, the first set of people who welcomed the one was a Yoruba man, another one Igbo, and we related together. We were brothers and so on. What is the goddamn the problem that we have at home here with the elite, particularly the basket mouth elite?
Khalifa, thank you so much for your time on Newsday. Dean of Borno Elders Forum, it's been such a great honor having you on the show. Much appreciated.